Hello and welcome inside the USF softball complex for the fifth and final game of Michigan softball in the USF opening weekend tournament. Today we have the Michigan Wolverines taking on the Illinois State Redbirds. I'm Alex Drain, joined by Jeremy Parks for this final game. Michigan split a pair of contests yesterday, a 6-0 defeat at the hands of Florida, but a 10-1 thumping win over South Florida. Michigan now gets what is on paper the easiest team of the tournament in Illinois State, but always a tough competition in Illinois State.
Yeah, absolutely. And we saw yesterday in that second game just what these Wolverine bats are capable of. Katie Alexander with the big cap off the grand slam in the top of the 7th inning, but it was the 6th and 7th innings where they really came alive. So it's especially important trying to build right off the end of that game. They were probably very happy headed home last night, trying to keep that same mindset, and they keep the same offensive lineup as they did for that USF game heading into today. But as you said, an Illinois State team you can't underestimate. They were down 10-1 in their first game of the season against North Carolina State, came back and made that a 10-9 game in the end, in a long one that wound up delaying the start of the Michigan and Arizona game on that first day. But a team that has struggled in the last couple. They lost 15-0 to Florida and 9-1 to Arizona.
And those are the teams Michigan wants to measure themselves against. So if they are of that caliber, and certainly their performances against Arizona and Florida suggested they can be, then they need a nice and comfortable win here today. Just about ready to get started. Natalie Peters checks in, and she takes a first pitch for a strike on the outside part of the plate. The pitcher for Illinois State is Shannon Feldy. It'll be Peters, Blair, and Canfield to start off this game.
Yep, Feldy had the misfortune of starting her season against Florida the other day. Went 2 innings, 8 hits, 8 runs, 7 earned.
Peters smacks that one just foul down the first base side. Feldy didn't really give up any walks in that game. Everything was just hard contact.
Yep, just 1 walk given up out of all of those hits.
There should be plenty of hittable pitches here today for the Wolverines, who scored more runs in the 6th and 7th innings of the South Florida game than the preceding 3 games and change combined. The 0-2 down and away. Count is 1-2. Feldy checks the wristband. The 1-2 swinging a high chopper to second. Gonna have to be a quick play, and just making the throw there is Vanderpool for the first out.
Yep, we saw a lot of balls that had some interesting movement on the infield dirt yesterday, but looks like the overnight showers have kind of stiffened it up out there. It should help stop some of those balls with tough spin and help those infielders in making some plays.
Yeah, it was a wet evening, delayed the game start by about 15 minutes. And Lexi Blair takes a ball. Blair is a freshman in her first ever tournament this weekend. Looked pretty strong both defensively and offensively.
Yep, she went 2 for 5 yesterday, had an infield single and an outfield single.
The 1-0 was a strike from the outside part of the plate.
Came around to score the 3rd run of the game. Last night, she was the first one to cross the plate in that monster 4-run 6th inning.
The defense for Illinois State: Corsi, Olsen, Vanderpool, and Spence left to right in the infield. The 1-1 is in the dirt. In the outfield, Calabrese, Weeble, and Hale left to right. And behind the plate, we have Ellie Welfa. Michigan's batting order: Peters, Blair, Canfield, Uden, Overitis, Alexander, Subject, Hoganrod, and Natalia Rodriguez.
Michigan's got the maize tops with the white pants this morning. It's a good look, Drain.
The 2-1, Blair swings and smacks that one into left field, a solid single. Line drive, base hit.
Well, we'd seen Lexi Blair get a hold of a few that got out near the warning track in the last couple of days, and that one the hardest shot of them all. And yet it stays close to the earth, sneaks just past the shortstop and out into left for the first hit. First base runner of the game.
So here's Faith Canfield, the senior captain. Got off to a rough start in her first 3 games, had a much better USF contest.
2 for 4 with a pair of infield hits yesterday.
Still looking to display some power that she talked about trying to work on in the offseason. First pitch high and outside. Blair on first is a threat to steal. She attempted one in the Arizona game and was gunned out by a tremendous throw. Got her right on the face. The 1-0 is a strike.
It's a nice fastball there from Feldy on the outside edge. Decent speed, but by no means the fastest fastball thrower that Michigan has seen so far this weekend. I think that would probably go to Taylor McQuillan of Arizona, judging by my eyeball.
The 1-1 swinging a hard ground ball, foul down the first base line. A little bit light on the swing was Canfield, but got a good cut.
That's Terry Holt over at first base, who was dipping and diving out of the way of that one. Sally Keller is your home plate umpire, and Chad Spilter is your third base umpire for this crew this morning.
Count 1-2 on Canfield. Blair down there at first. And Canfield swings and fouls that one away. Head coach for the Redbirds is Melinda Fisher. We talked a bit in our podcast, East of the Rockies, about the coaching history here in this tournament, but 3 of the 6 coaches all-time to win 1,000 games in NCAA history are in this tournament. 2 of them in this game today, Carol Hutchins for Michigan and Melinda Fisher for Illinois State. The 1-2, another foul by Canfield, almost knocked the pitching coach off her bucket down there in the Illinois State dugout. Fisher's now been at Illinois State for an astounding 34 seasons, having won over 1,000 games, 11 Missouri Valley Conference titles, 9 regionals. The rare example of a mid-major coach who never decided to make the jump up to the big leagues. Very comfortable staying at Illinois State. The 1-2 is outside. Blair takes off, goes into second, and she is safe there. Throw was way high anyway and got into the outfield. That should go down as a steal in my mind.
Yep, I believe so.
They're going to say an error, at least on the board. I think that's a little unfair because it sure seemed like Blair was in there with plenty of time. But
yeah, the ball didn't even make it there until her foot was about an inch off the bag, and even then, as you said, it flew way beyond the shortstop glove out into center.
So 2-2 now on Canfield. Runner in scoring position, and Canfield swings and hits that one in to left field. And then botched by the left fielder, Calabrese, and it's going to put Canfield at second. Blair will score. It'll be a single E7. Well, just went right through the wickets.
Fast start, 3 batters, 1 run to cross, and again, through a couple of mishaps. The Blair score is going to be wrong in the book here that we have for live stat broadcast. They have her stealing second, but then advancing to third on a throwing error. That is not correct.
Yeah, she did not advance to third.
So
she took third on that single from Canfield, and then was waved around by Carol Hutchins when the fielding play was botched. Here's Madison Uden. She takes the ball outside. The junior third baseman from Glendale, Arizona.
They are marking that a Canfield single, advancing on an error. Yep. They have Blair scoring, but an unearned run to Feldy in the book.
Yeah, well,
it's interesting so far on that book.
Amateur hour at the scoring desk. 2-0 the count now on Uden as that pitch outside. Feldy doesn't want to fall behind a really competent hitter in Uden who hit over 350 a year ago. The 2-0 chopped in the infield, but it's off her foot, so it'll be a foul.
Yeah, she did run it out as it did roll into play and was gathered in by Feldy, but called back. Uden yesterday was 1 for 3. She had an infield single and then had a walk in that 4th at bat.
She's very capable of drawing walks. Doesn't have a ton of power. 3 homers a year ago. 2-1 down and away, and now the count is 3-1. On deck is Morgan Overitis, the freshman designated player, with Katie Alexander in the hole. Michigan leading 1-0 on Illinois State. Canfield at second. 1 out in the inning. Here's the 3-1 to Uden. That one's in the dirt, and that'll be ball 4. Sliding down is Canfield. I think they'll probably give her that on a wild pitch.
Yeah, it did get up and into the chest protector. It was smothered. It didn't get back to the backstop, but again, we'll see how the Illinois State crew on Stat Broadcast scores that one.
So Uden aboard on a walk. Runners on the corners. 1 out in the inning. Michigan already with her 1 run in the bank. And now here's Overitis at the plate. And she takes a strike as Feldy finds the zone again. Overitis, 5-star freshman, top 20 overall recruit, had really the only solid hit off of Kelly Barnhill that Michigan could produce in the Florida game, and then remained very solid in the game against USF. There's another strike, and quickly ahead 0-2 is Feldy. Overitis hit a lot of balls very hard in the USF game. Here's the 0-2 pitch, swing and a foul.
The wind, as opposed to yesterday, it was quite windy, especially during that second game. The wind pretty much dead here.
Yep.
Early morning temperatures around 70 degrees. It's much more humid than it was yesterday. The flag out in right field, billowing just ever so slightly left to right.
Count 0-2. Ooh, just a little high. Overitis was sitting on a fastball and got the off speed, almost swung too early, and then decided to lay off and just high.
Good pitch by Feldy again. She's been roughly around the zone a lot here.
The 1-2, that one's also high. Going down to second and sliding in safe is Uden, but now throwing back and just getting in time is Canfield as they tried to catch her scampering towards home. She gets back to third. It'll be a stolen base for Uden.
Well, if they had decided it's Wealth behind the plate, she did kind of a double clutch there and didn't throw immediately over to second, maybe feeling that first overthrow that she had. She probably would have had Uden had she gone right off the bat.
It was a delayed steal, but obviously with the runner on third, your considerations are a little different in that scenario. Count now 2-2 on Overitis. Here's the pitch. That's a hard hit ball up to second. That one is booted by the fielder. The run will score. And down to third goes Uden. Over to first is Overitis.
That's a tough play for Taylor Vanderpool there. As we said, I mentioned this earlier, the rain hopefully stiffening up that dirt, and instead just kind of overplaying it, coming in a little too close, and got a lot of hop off the first bounce there. And
they're going to give an infield single to Overitis, which I think is the right decision because that was going to be a very hard play to make. Yeah,
it was a good job to keep it up and in off the chest, just like they teach you to keep your body in front of it. That way, if you muff it, it stays right in front.
And that's one of the harder infield singles you'll see. A lot of them deep in the hole, soft tappers. That one was scalded.
They also have Canfield as an unearned run here, as Michigan scratches across the second.
Still runners on the corners and only 1 out. Here's Katie Alexander, and she takes a strike. Had a big grand slam yesterday against USF after not starting against Florida.
And so far, that grand slam, her only hit in her 8 plate appearances so far.
Looking to break the ice. That pitch high.
That the only home run on the books so far for Michigan.
Overitis not marketed as a stolen base threat. You could see Michigan try to go to the double steal again. The 1-1, and Alexander hits that one high and deep to center field. Back at the track to the wall. Gone! A home run. And Katie Alexander does it again. A 3-run shot for the Wolverines, and they take a 5-0 lead in the first inning.
Well, it looks like she's decided to bust out the lumber. 2 home runs and as many at-bats, and in those 2 home runs, 7 RBIs. What a couple of plate appearances it's been for Katie Alexander as the Wolverines clear the bases, and already a 5-0 lead early this morning. I haven't even gotten through half of my coffee yet, Trent.
It's a sleepy morning, but not for the Michigan Wolverines. They came ready to play.
That's what we were saying, building off of that success that they had at the plate, especially in the later innings yesterday, and it looks like they haven't skipped a beat.
So now it's Alex Subject at the plate. She fouls the first pitch back out of the stadium, just over the concourse fence. Michigan leads 5-0. They've had the last 5 hitters reach base, and all of them have scored after the initial Peters ground out to start the game. 1 out in the inning. Subject swings and ropes that one into left field, a line drive single, and the hits now piling on for Michigan.
When it rains, it pours. 5th hit already here in the first inning, and Feldy just having a rough go of it. As we said, she had the misfortune of starting her season against Florida, one of the hottest hitting teams in the country, and now she's facing an awoke Michigan lineup here.
So here's Haley Hoganrod. Hoganrod's been dazzling with her defense, also pretty solid weekend offensively for the junior outfielder from Zeeland, Michigan. There's a bouncing ball. They're going to try for 2. There's one. Relay to first, not in time. It'll be a fielder's choice, 5-4 put out.
And yet again, another ball put in play. And, you know, we talk about getting hits, but the Wolverines at certain times in the earlier games this weekend were struggling to even get the ball out into the field. So still very good to see.
So with 2 outs, Hoganrod stands on first and Natalia Rodriguez at the plate. Rodriguez takes a ball inside. Rodriguez had an up and down weekend in the field, but a pretty solid weekend at the plate, given that she's not really marketed for her offense, has used her speed to her advantage, also hit a couple balls pretty hard. She takes a strike on the inside part of the plate.
Yep, she's 3 for 7 so far on the season. A couple of strikeouts, so trying to limit that to a degree.
One pitch, chopped to third, and they go over to first and get her by a step. That'll end the inning, but Michigan strikes 5 times in the top of the first, with the most notable being the 3-run homer by Katie Alexander. We go to the bottom of the first. Our score, Michigan 5, Illinois State 0. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports.
And the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network train. I did have my coffee, so we're good and awake. A quick reminder, as always at the half innings, feel free to interact with us throughout the broadcast on the YouTube live stream feed. Go ahead and send us any questions or comments that you have in that chat. It's been lively all weekend long. We appreciate all of you who have been tuning in all weekend long with us. We wouldn't be here without your support, and it's our pleasure and our great enjoyment to bring you all these games down from sunny Gulf Coast, Florida.
Michigan playing their final game of the weekend will fly out this afternoon back to Ann Arbor. They've got a bit of an easier tournament next weekend where they need to collect some wins against North Carolina and Louisville, 2 kind of middle-tier ACC teams, before getting right back to a tougher grind against LSU and Baton Rouge, among other teams, and then the most daunting, the Judy Garvin tournament out in Fullerton at the beginning of spring break in early March.
Yeah. On paper, at least, that should be an easier weekend for the Wolverines. We'll preview that on our podcast, East of the Rockies, later this week before I fly down to Raleigh-Durham on Friday next week to link up with Morris Fabry to call those games for you here on WCBN.
So Alex Duraco puts it down the plate for a strike. She is the starting pitcher for the Michigan Wolverines. She came in relief of Beaubien and earned the win against North Carolina State, and then went the distance. Actually, no, she went 6 innings against USF. There's a high pop-up that is going to go into the bullpen. She went 6 innings, just 1 run given up against USF, then relieved by Sarah Schaefer once the game was fully in hand.
Sarah Schaefer is already warming up with the first batter of the game out in the bullpen there where that fly ball foul just landed.
The 0-2 a little down. It's Feldy at the plate, I believe.
Yes, you are correct. The 10th player in the Illinois State lineup is only playing defensively.
Yeah, Calabrese.
Yep.
And there's a ground ball deep in the hole to short. Nice play, Rodriguez. Throw across the diamond, but the pick cannot be made by Alex Subject. And going to second is Feldy. Not an easy pick, but a play that should have been made.
Yeah, got the ball into her glove and then a hurried throw over to first. We've seen that a couple of times this weekend from Natalia Rodriguez, and that one down in the dirt and away from Subject as it goes back all the way to the netting of the Wolverines dugout.
It'll go down as an error, so runner on second. Here is Olson. Olson, the shortstop, followed by Corsi, the third baseman.
So that'll be an E6.
And I think that's a little unfair, to be honest. You know, on one hand, as that pitch is high, on one hand, it was a throw in the dirt. On the other hand, she also had to make a really quick throw.
I did write it down as E6 just for the throw.
Yeah.
So.
Oh! The 1-0 pitch beams Olson in the back. And a little bit wild of a start from Alex Duraco. It's what we've kind of seen from her. She's been really good at limiting the hard contact, even against the very good teams, but has had up and down command on the weekend.
Yeah, she tried to bring a little rising action into that one, and it just came up and hit right in the letters on Olson. And now maybe a little something working here for Illinois State in the first inning, trying to answer a 5-run frame for Michigan in their first time at the plate.
So now we got Andrea Corsi at the plate. First pitch is a strike. When Steranko is pounding the zone, she's really, really good. That was the case against NC State. It's just been that the command has been off and on.
And again, to be expected. I mean, true freshman out in the circle. It's been a weekend of incredibly fierce competition.
That one fouled meekly. And now the count 0-2. Steranko is capable of getting some strikeouts. We'll see if she can sit down Corsi.
Very hard to come in and be kind of the All-American that Megan Beaubien was from the first jump of the get-go last season.
Here's the 0-2 pitch, a little high. Steranko, along with Schaefer and Beaubien, forms a very young starting rotation for the Wolverines. No player older than a sophomore, Schaefer and Beaubien, at that age level, and Steranko, a freshman. The 1-2 pitch chopped to third, and Uden's going to go right to first. That one, play made by Subject. So now one out in the inning.
Yeah, that was another low throw over to first, but getting down in there to make the grab was Subject. A nice play there at first.
So now we have Allison Spence at the plate. She was the best hitter a year ago for the Redbirds, a .304 average and a .399 on base. Swing and a miss. Off speed from Steranko. It's not a Redbird team that hits for a lot of power. Only 16 homers in 54 games a year ago.
They did have a grand slam in the game against North Carolina State off the bat of the on-deck Circle Weibel.
There's a ground ball to first. Oh boy, right through the legs of Alex Subject, and 2 runs will score. Both of them will be unearned, and the runner goes down to first. The Billy Buckner play right there.
Yep. And that's tough. Again, a couple of runs coming around on just some defensive miscues here. A hit batter, missed throw, a ball through the legs. But again, that's where the importance of getting those bats going is so huge for this team, because that gives you the cushion now where 2 early runs, although nothing that you want to see on the scoreboard, it's still a 3-run lead in favor of the Maize and Blue. So keep that comfort level right there.
Well, Michigan is looking for some identity at first base. They started Taylor Bump in the first 3 games. She couldn't really get her back going at all, but I thought was very good in the field. And then they have now inserted Subject into the lineup at first base and has struggled there defensively. Brings Weibel to the plate.
And as we said, she had the grand slam in a comeback effort against North Carolina State on the first day.
First pitch a little high.
It was at one point 10-1 in favor of the Wolfpack heading into the 5th inning, and then a massive output. I believe it was 6 runs in the 5th frame for Illinois State, kept them from a run rule defeat.
There's a strike. The 1-1 floats a little high. Weeble, a .243 hitter a year ago. That ball high, 3-1.
Weeble so far on the season has the grand slam and only one other hit. She's 2 for 10. But with 6 RBIs, and all 6 of those RBIs came off her 2 hits in the NC State game.
And that one is in the dirt, so Storako and the defense struggling now.
And again, this is probably going to prove to be a good experience moment for Alex Storako in the circle, dealing with a little bit of adversity here to open up the game. A couple of defensive plays don't go your way, a couple of runs scratch across. Trying to get the ball over the plate, and Hutch is going to ride that arm, just like she did to finish out the game with Beaubien yesterday against Florida.
That ball is high to Riley Hale. Runners on first and second, 1 out. Illinois State in this game now has 2 runs on just 1 hit. Gotten some errors, a hit by pitch, a walk. There's a strike. For Storako so far, it's appeared to be really a story of an up and down. Up against North Carolina State, down against Arizona, up against South Florida, now down against Illinois State. Needs to pick herself up out of this little ditch. Pitch high, 2-1.
Just got to play a little pitch and catch there with Katie Alexander.
Michigan has continued to use Alexander as the catcher for Storako's starts. 2-1 in the dirt. That one rolls away from Alexander. That'll go down as a wild pitch.
And again, that's just a rare moment in which the ball gets away from Katie Alexander, who is so good defensively, getting in front of so many pitches behind the plate. And just a series of unfortunate events. Little lemony snicket there for you, Dre.
The count 3-1 on Hale. That one way high, and the bases are now loaded. Five of the first 6 hitters from Illinois State have reached. Still only 1 hit for the Redbirds, and it didn't even leave the infield.
Yep, and nobody from the dugout coming out, but there will be a chat in the circle between Katie Alexander and Alex Storako. The rest of the infield will meet just above the circle as Sally Keller breaks it up, tells them it's time to get back to the game. And pitching action over in the bullpen for Michigan. Both Beaubien and Sarah Schaefer are throwing out there.
Illinois State had a pitcher warming up too a little bit earlier, but not right now. It appears the Arizona Wildcats are out there doing some batting practice. First pitch, I guess, is high. Ellie Welfa at the plate, the catcher. The 7-hitter Welfa, Leonard on deck. The 1-0 also high, 2-0.
Can't seem to buy a strike at the moment, Alex Storako. She looks back to Jennifer Brundage to the dugout to get her sign, checks the wristband.
Count 2-0. Here's the pitch. That's a strike.
She went back to that outside edge. The outside was the unfavorable zone for the pitchers yesterday. The inside was where they found a lot of joy, but Storako has tended to go outside here in the early goings.
The 2-1. That's a strike.
Same spot as the last one.
Delayed call from home plate umpire Keller. 2-2 count. Strikeout here would be huge if the base is loaded. And 1 out.
A pitch so nice she did it twice. Now how about thrice?
The 2-2. Strike 3. Got her looking.
How about thrice?
Yeah,
a little back more over the plate than the last two, but got her looking.
Great job to battle back by Storako, and now it brings up the 8-hitter and the designated player, Mac Leonard, with 2 outs. Michigan can get out of the inning any way they want with a simple out. There's a strike.
Mac Leonard also capable of throwing. She's seen action in at least 2 of the games, I believe all 3 actually. Yeah, she has pitched in all 3 Illinois State games so far.
The 0-1, that's a strike. Now Storako finding the plate once again. 5 straight strikes for her, and she's ahead 0-2, 1 strike away from getting out of a first inning jam. The 0-2 swing and a high pop-up coming right at us and bouncing off the net and then falling all the way back down. Oh, and it hit a player in the Illinois State dugout, number 44.
Unfazed.
Yep, Brittany LaFontaine right off her arm.
I'll tell you, Drain, I haven't gotten a foul ball since one came through the broadcast window at the 2014 Big Ten Championships. Proudest day of my life. Landed right on the laptop.
The 0-2 swing and a pop-up foul, and going to go off a railing and then off the dugout top. Very late swings here from Leonard, trying to stay alive as Storako has once again found the strike zone and is now pounding it. 0-2 check swing a little high.
No appeal. I think she kept it there by a good margin. Yep. Trying to get out of this jam. Alex Storako would be huge if she can get back to the dugout with just the 2 given up with a couple of errors.
The 1-2. Oh, that looked like a good pitch, but Alexander couldn't squeeze it.
Yeah, she was going to have to frame it. I think that one would have been a hair outside. Hard to see from this angle as we look kind of parallel down from the Donaldson deck on the third base line.
Well, now the count is 2-2. Here's the pitch. Swing and a miss. Strike 3. A rising heat there blows Leonard away, and that ends the inning. So Michigan gets themselves into a jam via some walks, hit by pitches, errors, only 1 hit by the Redbirds. They do scratch across 2 runs, and it's 5-2 Wolverines. As we go to the top of the second, you're listening to Michigan softball on WCBN Sports and the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
And that is a true freshman in Alex Storako showing anything other than true freshman poise in the circle to stay in there strong, and that's why Hutch will leave you in there at that point. That's a very big character-building moment for a young pitcher. Again, against a team that you just put up 5 on in the top of the frame, you're kind of expecting a bit of a rollover, and they come out swinging. A couple of miscues, but getting out of the inning, again, with a 3-run lead now still intact. And Michigan will look to get those runs back and then some here in the top of the second. Also, a welcome invitation to always shout out to us on Twitter at WCBN Sports with your comments, questions as well. We don't check that as much as the YouTube live chat. Got 1 request for a score update. It is 5-2 as we enter the top of the second in favor of the Wolverines. Hits are 5-1 in favor of Michigan. Errors are 2-1 in favor of Illinois State.
So Michigan hit their way around in the first, so it's back to the top of the order. Peters, Blair, and Canfield to start the second. There's a ground ball to short. Quick play across the diamond. Nice throw there from Olsen to retire Peters.
Much more sure fielding there from Illinois State. 1 pitch, 1 out.
So here's Blair. She had a solid single her first time up, which got the Wolverines going in the first. On deck, Canfield. First pitch in the dirt. Blair had a single, stolen base, and came around to score Michigan's first run. The 1-0 strike on the outside part of the plate.
The Arizona Wildcats have arrived out in left field for the game after this one. Michigan fell 2-1 in a very tight game in the afternoon on Friday to Arizona.
The 1-1 swing and a miss.
Blair took a big cut there after she had a rip shot single out to left field in her first at-bat.
Yep, she looked ready to hit there and just swung right through it. Count 1-2. One-two pitch, swing and a bouncing ball right back up the middle. Solid single for Lexi Blair. She's on board again. Carving out a really good niche in the number 2 spot in this lineup is Lexi Blair.
Lexi with the lumber. Showing it this morning, 2 for 2 to open up.
What's she on the weekend now?
Let's see, that will for the weekend. Let me pull her up real quick. Her individual card just went away, and I don't want to go and track all of my cards.
First pitch to Canfield is in the dirt.
Get that for you in just a second.
Canfield had a single to left field her first time up. We'll see if they send Blair again. The 1-0 fouled off Canfield's thigh. Count 1-1 on the Michigan second baseman, senior
Stat line currently unavailable according to the internet.
Count 1-1. That one's in the dirt. Blair inching off of first, but she retreats. It's a rather sparse crowd here for this game as Michigan's got a solid contingent, but without the big draws in state of Florida and USF. Rather thin. 2-1 on Canfield, swinging a hot shot into center field, bouncing in for a single. And Michigan has 2 aboard once again.
And we talked yesterday about the difference between power and placement for these hitters, and I think what you're seeing early on this morning is just really good placement of the ball by these hitters, tending to avoid the Illinois State gloves, doing a good job of keeping it in the gaps.
So here's Uden. She drew a walk her first time up. Takes the first pitch for a ball. Two on and 1 out. Michigan leads Illinois State 5-2 in the top of the second. That one is down and away, and Uden's ahead 2-0.
Looming on deck over there is Morgan Overitis.
Michigan now up to 7 hits, 5 runs on 7 hits. Here's the 2-0 to Uden in the dirt once again, bouncing in, and now the count 3-0 on the Michigan third baseman. She drew a walker first time up, looking to draw a second here.
Good job by Weltha to block that one and keep the runners glued at first and second.
The 3-0 is a little low, and it's a 4-pitch walk, and the bases are now loaded.
Juiced up, ducks on the pond.
And now an opportunity for Morgan Overitis to earn some RBIs. Overitis steps into the batter's box, hit an infield single her first time up, and we might have a pitching change now, as Melinda Fisher has come out of the dugout to talk to Sally Keller. Haven't seen anyone emerge. Oh, looks like here comes somebody from the bullpen.
Yep, the glove is off for Feldy. See if we can get eyes on who that is coming into
29, which is Morgan Day.
Morgan Day so far for NC State. She took the loss in the game against NC State. She went 4 innings in that one, gave up 6 hits and 4 runs. All of those runs were earned. And she also took the loss in the game against Arizona. She did not record a single out against the Wildcats, gave up 5 hits, 5 runs, all of them earned.
Yeah, not a very good pitching staff for this Illinois State team, struggling to find someone with that real consistency.
So it's been rough early on. A note from one of our listeners, Jeff Birmingham, good note here that Illinois State does have to face Florida again next weekend and then twice more the weekend after that.
Yikes.
So after losing 15-0 here in Tampa, it looks like they've got a couple more dates with the Gators on the schedule in the coming weeks. Also, longtime listener Griffin Hickman wondering on our flight update for later. It's looking like we will not have Trapped in Tampa 2018 all over again. Drain and I should be good to get out of here at about 5 o'clock this evening. After we spent, what, a good 9 hours in the Tampa airport last year?
Yeah, it was brutal.
Stuck eating at the Payway. $18 for some chicken fried rice that tastes like rubber pellets. Ready to go back home to chilly Ann Arbor. I think I looked this morning and the temperature was right around 20 degrees at home sweet home.
So here's Wolverines, bases loaded, 1 out. That one is a little low.
Another grand slam here would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chock full with 1 out. Wolverines got a chance to bust it here. She's got 2 RBIs already this season.
The 1-0 swinging a hard foul back. A little out in front of it, and then it got the backspin onto the roof.
One of those ribs was back earlier in the first inning when she had that single.
Count 1-1. Checking the wristband is Day. Winds up and delivers the pitch. That's a strike. And the count now 1-2. Looked pretty hittable there for Wolverines, but she did not go.
Similar vein to Alex Stracco in the last frame. Day looking to get Illinois State out of a big jam here.
The 1-2, swinging a ground ball through the hole into left field, a base hit, and they're going to hold Canfield at third, so just move them all over one base. A run scores, Michigan up 6-2.
3 ribs getting close to a half rack there for Wolverines here in the Tampa tournament. And 6 ribs, that would make a full rack for the team here on the game this morning. 6-2 your score. Still chock full with 1 out for...
Here's Katie Alexander.
Yep, who's got 2 home runs in her last 2 at-bats.
She takes the first pitch for a strike.
I'll tell you what, if she goes yard here, Drain, I'm going to go bonkers.
0-1 count on Alexander, looking to bust the game back open. And she swings, hits a high drive into center. It's going to be caught, and tagging up from third and going home is Canfield. She'll score without a play. Throw goes in to third, but not in time as Uden slides up. Everyone moves to the next base. Weeble made the catch, and her throw was in to Corsi, so it's a sac fly for Alexander, adds an RBI.
Got me a little excited off the bat there, but it'll still be the 8th RBI of the tournament here for Katie Alexander as she heads back to the dugout with another one in her pocket. 7-2, Drain.
7-2 Wolverines. And Alex Subject at the plate. She singled her last time up. That one is high.
We've got a listener comment that it's supposed to get up to 29 degrees in Ann Arbor today. Really looking forward to that heat wave. Maybe I won't have to chip the ice off my car when we get back.
Runners on second and third, 2 outs for Subject. Pitch is down and in, 2-0 on the Wolverine first baseman. Here's the 2-0. Strike on the inside part of the plate.
It's a really good pitch there from Day to bring herself back into this count. Subject got a chance to make up at the plate. She had a ball go through her legs that was part of the 2-run frame for Illinois State in the bottom of the first.
2-1, swing and a miss late on that swing.
trying to swing for the fences there. Took a big, hefty cut.
Count 2-2 now on Subject. Here's the pitch, swinging a ground ball to third, and they're going to go right over for the out. So that'll end the inning. Michigan gets 2, leaves a couple on. They lead 7-2 as we go to the bottom of the second. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports, the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
You got to start saying it like I do, Dre.
Nope.
Radio Network. Looking forward to it.
Back out for the next inning of work is Alex Duracco.
Yep, got to put a lot of confidence back in your glove after getting out of that big jam with limited damage in the bottom of the first. We'll see how she comes out here in the second. But again, a shout out to all of you who have tuned in with us all weekend long. We appreciate you waking up early on your Sunday morning to hear the final game of this Tampa tournament. We'll look forward to bringing you more Michigan softball coverage throughout the season. Like we said, we'll have the ACC Big Ten Challenge next weekend live from Chapel Hill, and then we'll be absent for a little while. We've got spring break thrown in there. We've got some smaller tournaments with airports that are costly to get to, so we will not be able to bring you the Baton Rouge tournament, the Tempe tournament, and likely the Fullerton tournament.
Fullerton tournament is being streamed on Flow Softball if you want to pay for that, so yeah, there is a way to consume that.
Production quality, not quite what we have here. They do have video, you can appreciate that, but I paid my $20 last year. Wasn't a huge fan.
So here we go. To start the bottom of the second, a small pop-up down the foul line, and it'll drop about 10 feet to the left of the foul line.
I've got an idea, Drain.
Yeah?
You know what those like English language commentators do for soccer matches that are in like Spain? They don't fly out there. They watch it on TV, and they commentate the game from a studio. We could very likely do that.
That would be interesting.
I don't know. Listeners, sound off in the chat. Sound off in the chat.
The 0-1 pitch is high.
We could in crowd noises, generic sound file off the internet.
We could some people yelling in the background.
We could do those from the studio. I'm pretty confident in that.
Count 1-1. Vanderpool swings and misses there, and the count is 1-2. It's been a good weekend for Michigan sports all around. Basketball defeated Wisconsin yesterday at Chrysler. Hockey swept Michigan State, 2 huge wins, and winning the Iron D last night in the duel in the D. The 1-2 pitch, Vanderpool pops it up. Not going to have room. Lacrosse won their season opener over Cleveland State, so it's been a pretty solid weekend. And I believe women's basketball beat Nebraska on Thursday night, so good weekend all around. 1-2 pitch on Vanderpool, and that's a liner, just foul.
Ooh, she got that one on a rope. That was about 6 inches from a guaranteed double, if not more. Really the first time that these Illinois State hitters have actually teed up on a Storako pitch. They've mostly stuck to the infield and gotten a couple of breaks on the ground.
We have a defensive change to note. Taylor Bump is the new first baseman instead of Alex Subject. She's been inserted there after a rough defensive first inning for Subject. Count 1-2, still on the leadoff hitter, Vanderpool. The pitch is high. The 2-2, just low.
Ooh, that's a good pitch there from Storako. That was a really friendly zone with Liz Hammerschmidt behind the plate yesterday, but Sally Keller not biting on that inside edge.
The count 3-2. Storako trying to sit down the first hitter. There's the pitch, popped up, but gonna go foul. This was a good at-bat from Vanderpool, and Sally Keller needs more softballs. Hannah Carson scoops them up out of a green bucket in the Michigan dugout. Keller gives one to Storako, who heads back to the circle, locked in a lengthy battle with the second baseman for the Redbirds, Taylor Vanderpool.
looking for her first hit of the season. She's 0 for 7 so far at the plate for the Redbirds.
The 3-2 swing and a miss. Strike 3. Big strikeout there for Storako to win that battle. She's now got the last 3 hitters, as a matter of fact. And we flip to the top of the order. The former pitcher, Shannon Feldy, is at the plate. And first pitch is a ball.
3 strikeouts so far on the game for Storako. She continues to work down that whip, sitting at 1.25 right now.
Count 1-0. Swinging a high pop-up, but that one's going to go foul. And the way out there. Count 1-1. Looks like we got the USF baseball team watching this game. They are all seated in uniform just below us on the third base line. There's the ball high, 2-1.
Yeah, I think they're about to start their practice right behind us here on the USF softball stadium complex. The baseball field attached much like it is in the Wilpin complex back in Ann Arbor with Ray Fisher and alumni.
2-1 pitch, swinging a high pop-up. Gonna have room is Canfield. She'll make the easy play and 2 outs in the inning. They had the tarp on the baseball field when we got here. It's been taken off. I think they're just finishing the groundskeeping to get their practice going. College baseball kicks off next weekend. Michigan begins their season against Manhattan, I believe. There's a strike on Olsen. We'll have a lot of the Michigan baseball games as well, a lot of times going on concurrently with softball in March and April. Oh, 1 pitch, a little high.
We've got multiple votes that are affirmative for us to call the games from the studio drain. We've also got an offer to rent out some hotel room floor space at a reasonable price in both California and Arizona. Just for you, though, not for me.
There's a strike, 1 and 2. Yeah.
You're the popular one here.
Yeah. Count is 1 and 2 now on Olsen. Pitch, swinging a looper into left. Blair has to come on, and she makes the play.
Almost popped out of the palm there.
Got a late read on that one, did Blair, but she came in to make the play. So 1-2-3 inning for Storako, and Michigan will send the offense back out there. 7 runs on 8 hits for the Wolverines, 2 runs on 1 hit for the Redbirds. The score, Michigan 7, Illinois State 2. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. So we got one Florida fan right below us.
Yeah, they're up later this afternoon. It's about a 2-hour drive, as we said, from Gainesville. It was a packed house here yesterday afternoon for most of the day with the home team, USF, and the home state Florida Gator fans out in force. Michigan also, as always, traveling very well.
I believe Florida has to play NC State and then USF tonight. USF, Florida is always the last game of the weekend tournament.
We are pretty alone up here on the Donaldson deck today. Just a few Michigan faithful. We got some representatives of the Hoganrod family next to us. Shared some coffee this morning, broke bread. Good to get around and talk with the families and the fans. Drain, we've been recognized a few times this weekend.
Yeah, we had one fan asking us who is who,
without
any introduction. Just who's who.
I was very confused.
And we also weren't at the broadcast equipment either. It was just a casual encounter on the concourse.
Just your everyday local celebrities. If you're in Tampa listening to the game, feel free to come approach us for autographs.
Well, we had
photos cost you $5.
We had those nice people at the restaurant yesterday too.
Yep.
As we were watching the Michigan basketball game. So here's Hoganrod. It'll be Hoganrod, Rodriguez, and then Peters. Hoganrod check swing foul through her legs. Michigan last year defeated Illinois State 6-1. So they've already put up more runs in this one than they did in the game last year. And they faced Feldy in that game last year as well. A better performance off of her this year than last.
happy that we got to this one this year. Our flight left too early for us to make the call last season.
0-1. There's a strike. Well, it was scheduled to leave.
It was scheduled to, yeah, we technically could have called the game and still gotten to the airport and still sat for 5 hours by the time the plane arrived.
Here's the 0-2 pitch about to be on the way from Morgan Day. And Hoganrod follows it back. Day does a little bit of a twist from left to right before she gives the windmill delivery. Looks like Beaubien continues to throw down in the Michigan bullpen. Schaefer has sat down. Day checks the wristband. The 0-2 coming to Hoganrod. Too high. 1-2. Be interesting to see if they decide to throw Beaubien at all. I mean, it'd be nice to give her, you know, an inning late or something like that to keep her fresh. But she also, I think, was overworked yesterday against Florida. I question
over 160 pitches yesterday.
The 1-2 swing and a line drive to left, backing up and making a fine catch at the wall was Calabrese. A really hard hit ball from Hoganrod. And like the Blair catch, a late read for Calabrese, started backing up.
I think that's actually Feldy out in left field.
They move her out there?
Yep.
Yep.
That's what I've got according to the
yeah, that would make sense.
The live lineup.
Because she's still a hitter, so.
Didn't look like she had a great read on it. Just kind of got the glove up there and sort of stabbed it out of the sky. Didn't really get underneath it.
So 1 out in the inning. Rodriguez shows bunt and takes a strike. Rodriguez. The 0-1 count. Here's the pitch, a slap, too short, gonna have to be a quick play, throw, got her by a half step, nice play there by Olsen. And so quickly, 2 outs in the inning, Illinois State looking for their first fast inning. Natalie Peters at the plate. Lexi Blair in the on-deck circle. Peters now 0 for 2, having seen the plate now in the 3rd straight inning. And she slaps that one to short. And another quick play from Olsen to get another Michigan runner by just a step. A quick inning there from Morgan Day, 1-2-3. And we go to the bottom of the 3rd, Michigan 7, Illinois State 2. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports, the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
Ooh, you got a little more loop in there on that one. Good work from Day there to put up the first clean frame of the morning for Illinois State. They only play 4 games in this tournament. They technically had an exhibition against USF on Thursday that did not count as part of their tournament schedule. So really only facing NC State, Arizona, Florida, and Michigan on the opening weekend invitational schedule, formerly known as the Wilson D. Marini.
Yeah, the representatives from USF were very touchy about the name. They made it clear to me in an email on 2 different occasions that it was no longer the Wilson D. Marini tournament. Not sure if they had a falling out with Wilson and Di Marini or what exactly happened.
That'd be a great story to write for the website. The falling out between the USF staff and Wilson D. Marini.
First pitch, a soft tapper in the infield. No play for Natalia Rodriguez. An infield hit there for Corsi.
Yeah, that one was a tough one. That looped right over the head of Starocco, landed about 6 steps off of where Rodriguez was at short, and a lot of speed down the line there for Corsi.
Second hit of the game for Illinois State, and still only 1 ball has left the infield. Should have named the tournament the Youngling Tournament.
Everything is now sponsored by Yuengling down here, which I'm a big fan of.
First pitch is a strike. They renamed the USF basketball stadium after Yingling.
Yeah, it's not the Sun Dome anymore. It's the Yingling Forum or Center.
Yingling Center, I believe.
Yeah, they closed the parking lot today, so we had to park a good half-mile up the road.
The 0-1 high. It's Spence at the plate with Weeble on deck. The runner Corsi at first. Probably not advised to test the arm of Katie Alexander. One pitch, swing and a miss. Count goes to 1-2.
Yep, Spence brought around the 2 runs for Illinois State with her single back in the first. Has a chance with another runner on base to do some more damage here.
1-2 pitch, swinging a high pop-up, foul territory. Alexander should have room, and she makes the catch.
Good track up into the morning sunlight there for Katie. She had that one right off the bat, did a good track over her back right shoulder and got it right in front of some Michigan fans near the backstop there.
So 1 out in the inning. And there's a pitch high to Weeble.
Again, Weeble just with the 2 hits, a grand slam and a 2 RBI knock in the NC State game. Hitless in the last 2.
And there's a strike.
Nice breaking ball there from Storako to just catch that bottom part of the zone as it fell out and into the glove of Alexander.
The 1-1 swing and a foul back to the screen. One and 2. Storako steps back on. Corsi still at first. The 1-2 pitch, swing and a foul. Storako 3 strikeouts, looking for her 4th. Checks the wristband as she wipes the ball off. The 1-2, a little high. 2-2. Two pitch, swing and a miss. Went to the off speed and got her swinging. And now 2 outs.
Gotta love it with the spinner there. Again, just pulling the string, and yet another strikeout for Storako. Here, her 4th of the game. Already got 17 in the tournament.
Riley Hale at the plate now.
Took a walk in her first at bat.
Swinging a high pop-up. Alexander should have room again in the foul territory. She makes the catch. 2 foul pop-ups.
Same spot.
Yep. And that ends the inning. So a infield single is stranded for Illinois State. Score Michigan 7, Illinois State 2 as we go to the top of the 4th. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports and the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
Well, we have, as I said, affirmative votes for calling those tournaments in studio. I'll have to check the legality of that, and also if we can get a video stream from either of those locations. If you are a Michigan softball fan that's interested,
I mean, we're not making any money off of this, so we are a non-monetized YouTube account.
Yeah, if you're interested in going to any of those tournament games, and if you want to hold up your iPhone with Periscope, we will live broadcast the Periscope. We'll talk. We'll put in some conversations with softball on that. We'll see what the possibility is. I would definitely not be opposed in any way, shape, or form. That could be very fun. You could put me up in the studio for as many hours as you like.
That weekend is also, the Fullerton weekend is a weekend of the beginning of the Big Ten hockey tournament. We could have some games to call because right now Michigan is number 2 in the Big Ten in the top or 2 through 4 host 3-game series the first weekend.
That could be even more fun. We could do a fan forum at the Big Ten tournament. We could call the hockey games and then in between do the softball games outside in the fan tent. Ideas just going through my mind this morning, Drain.
If Michigan keeps the number 2 spot in the hockey tournament, if they won the first round series, they would host the second round too. They would only have to go on the road for the championship if Ohio State made it there. First pitch to Blair, she lays down a bunt, but she's gonna beat it out. Getting right to it was Morgan Day, but then nobody was covering first. Took a long time for Vanderpool to get over, and Blair beats it out on an infield single. She's got 3 hits.
Yeah, 3 hits for Lexi. And again, Spence decided to come in and charge from first base, even though it was pretty clear into the glove of Day the whole way, and that left first base unattended, and then coming a long trek over was Vanderpool and not in time, so Day had to double clutch when she realized nobody was there. Leadoff runner on again for the Maize and Blue. 9th
hit for Michigan, and a leadoff runner on. It's actually the first time in this game that Michigan has gotten a leadoff runner on. Canfield takes a strike as the 2 big innings for the Wolverines. Both started with Natalie Peters' groundouts before Blair kick-started some scoring. Canfield, Uden, and Overitis to follow. 0-1 to Canfield. She lays down a bunt of her own. It's going to be another tough play. Throw down. Got her.
Yep, got her by about a step there. Canfield doesn't have quite the speed that Blair does, but they also reacted much better at first and second on that play, did Illinois State. A much faster cover from Vanderpool. Katie tried to catch them off sides with one like that yesterday as well.
Here's Uden, runner Blair on second. So runner in scoring position. Uden is got 2 walks. And she swings, fouls it back to the screen. Outfield fairly deep in left and right, straight up in center. Third baseman Corsi drawn in, and first base Spence a little in as well. 0-1 pitch to Uden is outside. Be interesting to see if Blair decided to run, because with the position that Corsi is playing, there's not going to be easy to cover a throw down at third. The 1-1, and swinging a fly ball down the left field line, arcing towards the foul line, and it bounces off the tarp. And the count is 1-2.
So again, another question on Lexi Blair's stats for the weekend. So after yesterday, she was 3 for 12, and then add in a 3 for 3 day today so far. So 6 for 15. She's hitting 400 throughout the tournament.
And she has a walk or 2, I believe.
Let's see. As of yesterday, let me scroll through here real quick. She did have 1 walk.
Yeah, 1 walk.
Yeah.
So 7 for 16 in the OBP.
Tack on a stolen base here as well.
The 1-2 to Uden is down and in. Blair inching off of second, deciding to go back. Carol Hutchins talked really glowingly of Blair on Media Day on Tuesday, saying that she was a natural athlete, had been ready to play from day 1. Count 2-2 on Uden. Swing and a miss, strike 3. And that's a big strikeout for Morgan Day, and now 2 outs. Morgan Overitis at the plate. Let's see if the freshman can bring in another freshman. With the runner on second and 2 outs. Overitis has got a pair of singles today. A single probably bring Blair around with 2 outs. She'll be running on contact.
Overitis is hitting 500. As she's 3 for 6 so far on the season with 3 RBIs. She's got a pair of RBI singles so far in the game today in the first and second.
First pitch is outside. Day checked the wristband. For 1-0. That's a strike. Overitis and Blair, both highly touted recruits in the top 30. The other top 30 recruit in this class was Hannah Carson, who we've seen a bit of. Probably will see her at least once today. There's a pitch inside. Have to think we'll see some pinch hitters later in the game.
If it keeps the way that it is currently.
Count 2-1 on Overitis.
Technically right now, Overitis at the plate would represent the 7-run lead for a run rule.
2-1, swing and a high foul off the roof. Overitis just has such fast swing speed, which is why basically everything she's hit is hit really hard.
Gets that bat around real quick. Doing wrist curls. 50 sets of 50.
Count 2-2. Ooh, just inside.
That's a really good pitch there from Day. Just missing.
Day's been able to find the zone with much more consistency than Feldy did. Count now full, 3-2. It's a Morgan versus Morgan battle at the plate. The 3-2 swing and a miss. Overitis took another one of those big cuts, and she swung through it. So Day able to strand a leadoff runner, and it remains 7-2 as we go over to the bottom of the fourth. Michigan over Illinois State. You're listening to Michigan Softball on WCBN Sports, the official Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
Stracco will go back to the circle here for the bottom of the fourth. Meanwhile, I'll pitch my other idea that I gave Drain the other night for fandom and friendship here with the WCBN team. The barbecue rib out with WCBN. I don't know. Throw some thoughts on that. Perhaps one of those later home weekends when hopefully the temperature is warmed up in April. We could do the game, find a place to set up the grill, put JP on the ribs. I'll make my homemade ribicue sauce. Yeah, I don't know. It could be pretty good, Drain. Again, another monetary potential bump up here. Sell the ribs at a slight markup per plate. Trust me, they're good. Charcoal only, none of that gas business. I don't know. I think it could come through and fall over for us.
Sun's starting to peek out.
You're not even going to entertain that. He did the same thing to me when I mentioned it the other night.
I'm Dave Pash, and you're Bill Walton. And I'm trying
I'll take that as a compliment.
to keep this on course.
If you watched the video of Bill Walton last night where he ate a cupcake with the candle still burning on it. I'm not as much of a Grateful Dead fan as Bill Walton, but definitely as much of a Hootie and the Blowfish guy.
Here's the first pitch to begin the inning. A pop-up out of play. It'll be Weltha, Leonard, and Vanderpool.
Don't know if I told you that, Drain. I'm going to see Hootie at least 3 times on their tour this summer.
I know you bought tickets for the one. Where else are you seeing them?
TBD. Hang on.
There's a strike 0-2.
It all depends on where the movement is after graduation, but out of the 3 possible opportunities, there are multiple concerts within 2-hour driving distance of each one. So we're going to see a lot of Darius this summer.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss. Stracco sits down Weltha. That is now 5 strikeouts for Stracco.
Climb the ladder there, and again, she's just mixing up her speeds and showing so many different looks to these hitters.
First pitch to Leonard is a strike. 9 of the last 10 Illinois hitters have been put down after 5 of the first 6 had reached base. So Stracco has really settled in and starting to hurl. The 0-1 pitch, swinging a tapper right back to the mound. She'll casually throw over to Taylor Bump for an easy out, and just like that, 2 outs in the inning.
You gotta love the look when the ball goes right back into the pitcher's glove, and it's like, oh, I got a prize.
So now we are at Taylor Vanderpool, the number 9 hitter in the order. And the second baseman, pitch high.
Apparently we've got a listener in the crowd who says that water bottles are going for $4 down at the concession stand here, so maybe we start selling water from our broadcast booth.
1-0, I guess, is a little in.
Yeah. That might be good business. We got the little mini water bottles of Dasani that we could just drop from the Donaldson deck here, kind of like the Amazon drone delivery service.
Count 2-0. There's a strike.
Very rarely has Storako fallen behind in the count since that rough second inning.
2-1 on Vanderpool. Swinging, that's a hard hit ball to left field. Back goes Blair to the track, over the fence, and a home run. Vanderpool hits it out.
Well, Vanderpool had teed up on one earlier that was a hot shot down the third base foul line that just tailed foul, and she teed up again on another Storako fastball, and she took that one over the short fence. Had it been about 5 feet over to the left, it would have hit the tall fence and probably stayed in the yard, but again, that's a big home run for Illinois State as they get their third run of the game.
That's, I believe, the first off Storako that's earned. So 2 outs still in the inning. They bring Feldy up. And there's a called strike.
So again, the first bump in the road really since the first inning for Storako. See how she settles in here.
That pitch is high. We've seen Storako be prone to the home run. She gave up a home run to USF, home run to Arizona, and now a home run in this game. That pitch high and in the air. Medium depth in right field, and the catch made by Hogenrod. That ends the inning. Redbirds get their second hit, or excuse me, third hit, and their third run. It's 7-3 Michigan over Illinois State. As we go to the top of the fifth, Michigan does their normal team conversation. Just past the halfway point of this game. It's going to be a little bit longer of a game unless Michigan can tack on some runs here and end it on a run roll. Some more Florida fans starting to file in.
But we've got a promise of a future travel endowment if someone wins the lottery drain. You know what? I'll make the same promise if I ever win the lottery, and the closest I've come is turning $20 into $180 at the Windsor Casino last week. Canadian, so again, you got to change that over to like $15 American to like $150 American. But still, I'll throw a little change WCBN's way. Katie Alexander going to be due up here, and then Bump and Hogenrod, 6, 7, 8 in the top of the fifth. As we are just over an hour of game time here at 10:33 local, moving along quite efficiently this morning.
Katie Alexander at the plate as we start off the top of the fifth. That one down and in. Morgan Day continuing to throw for Illinois State. The 1-0, high and outside, 2-0.
Okay, checking the wristband to get the call.
2-0, swinging a high pop-up into shallow center. Charging and making the catch is Wiebel.
Again, another ball that Katie Alexander gets under, just couldn't drive it the same way that she has on her pair of home runs between yesterday and today. And we'll see Taylor Bump for the first time now. She is 1 for 6 so far at the plate here in the tournament. Has 3 strikeouts.
There's a strike looking to get that bat going. We've talked a bit about the amount of power that she has. See if she can line one up from Morgan Day. So 1 coming, swinging a foul back, 0-2. Bump is a free swinger. She's not afraid to get aggressive.
Day looking for her put-away pitch.
0-2 is high.
Good eye there from Bump. Early on here, trying to set the tone that she won't become a high-volume strikeout hitter. Can obviously hit for power, and that's one of the dangers of hitting for power.
The 1-2 off speed, strike 3. That's a very fine pitch from Morgan Day.
Yeah, that's great with the off speed, cutting it inside on Bump and just rolling it over that inside middle edge. She's been working really well since she came in.
Yeah, brings up Hoganrod.
So far, a fielder's choice and a fly out in the first and third, respectively, for Haley.
For last time up, the hit went very, very far. Right up against the fence.
Yep. 4 for 14 so far on the season, got 3 RBIs.
Count 1-0. Swings and hits that one. Just foul.
Oh, that looked fair to me as it went over the bag.
Fair to me. Oof.
Standing right over there on third base is, who is that on the umpiring crew? That is Chad Spittler.
Well, it's odd that he didn't make the call.
Yeah.
Sally Keller made the call.
He's right on top of it on the bag. And again, looked fair to me. Would have been extra bases, but back to the box.
1-1 the count on Hoganrod. Day delivers a pitch high and outside.
Hoganrod does have the 1 extra base hit, the double from yesterday, and a stolen base to her credit here in the tournament.
Two-one off speed for a strike. Dayton's very good at mixing up the velocity on her pitches.
A delayed call there from Sally Keller. Watch that one for a second. Held there for an extra beat by Welfa.
The 2-2 just outside.
That's a meaty one to take on the outside edge.
It's a pretty good pitch, though.
Brings it back to full.
Count 3-2.
Still, I think Hoganrod deserves to be on base after what should have been a fair ball down the line.
Count 3-2. Swings and fouls it back to the screen.
Yeah, got underneath that one, but got a piece of it to get it back.
Count remains full on Haley Hoganrod.
Day looking over to her pitching coach in the dugout.
The 3-2 swinging a foul back out of the stadium, just outside the fence.
Good extended at-bat here. Should be pitch number 8 of the at-bat.
3-2. A long at-bat. Hoganrod looking to get on base. Sets the pitch. Ball inside, and Hoganrod draws a
Very
walk.
well-drawn walk there in an extended at-bat. Way to work the count, protect the plate with 2 strikes, and wait for the 1 mistake from Day, and that'll be a 2-out base runner.
And now Carol Hutchins talking to Bonnie Thole about something. Pinch hitter here.
Yeah, it looks like Rodriguez is going to head back to the dugout. We'll see. It looks like might be Mackenzie Nemitz who took off her coat.
Putting on a helmet.
Yep, took off the coat, helmet on, bat up. So Nemitz will be the pinch hitter here for Rodriguez in the 9 slot. Nemitz is 0 for 3 at the plate so far. She started in the 4 spot against Florida.
Yeah, that was a rather odd decision.
Had the pinch hit for the final out of the Arizona game as well.
Someone who had, I believe, 7 career at-bats over 3 seasons preceding this one.
So no time better than the present to break in on the line.
Pitching coach out in one conversation for Illinois State. 2 outs in the inning, runner on first. First pitch to Nemitz is a called strike.
We had a question on current temperature here. It's exactly at 70 degrees as we near 11 o'clock with light 8-mile-an-hour winds. That flag out in right field still blowing left to right. A little more humid today, 88% humidity.
Yeah, very muggy. 0-1 fouled back, 0-2.
Seven to 3 we stand here in the bottom of the 5th. Or top of the 5th, I should say.
Now 0-2 on Nemitz. Swinging a ground ball, base hit into right field. Grounding second and stopping there is Hogenrod, and now back-to-back base runners with 2 outs in the 5th.
And there you go, Mackenzie Nemitz opens her account for the season. Gets her first hit in 4 tries at the plate in the tournament.
And she'll be quickly replaced on the base path by Rodriguez.
Use her for the bat and then put Rodriguez in on the pads.
Brings up Natalie Peters. Back to the top of the order. Natalie Peters, one of the only players not to get in on the fun on the base paths. 3 groundouts for her, 1 to second and 2 to short. Still 2 outs in the inning, 2 on and 2 outs. First pitch to Peters is a called strike.
As we said, Day has performed really well since she came in to relieve Feldy earlier in the game, and this really her first minorly sticky spot with runners on 2 out.
Michigan now in double digits in the hit column with 10. 0-1, Peters fouled back, and now 0-2. Peters steps back into the batter's box. Day sets, the 0-2 coming, swinging a ground ball right back to the mound, but it's going to be a tough play. Underhand scoop, not going to make it. And Vanderpool's underhand flip, not in time. Peters beats out the infield single, and now the bases are loaded for Lexi Blair.
Yeah, tough play on the infield. That one, a dribbler back towards the circle. It got under the extended glove of Day and then over towards second, and Vanderpool just not there in time. She wasn't charging it. I think she expected Day to make the play and then had to charge in and try and make the toss over to first, but Peters, with good speed down the line, gets there in time, and now the base is juiced with ducks on the pond again.
2-out rally by the Wolverines, and it gives Lexi Blair an opportunity.
The hottest bat in the lineup.
She's had 3 singles in today's game. First pitch fouled back.
She's also scratched across 1 RBI already in the tournament. She is now 6 for 15 throughout with the 3 for 3 performance today.
Count 0-1 on Blair. 0-1 pitch, swing and foul. Is there room? Yes, there is. What a catch by Welta, laying out to make the foul grab and strand the bases loaded.
Wow, Welta couldn't see that one, and I think she got directions from the circle to come back over to her left side, and she extended her body out and made the catch just shy of the net to the third base side of the backstop, and that'll do it for the Wolverines after they threaten with the bases loaded but do not score in the fifth.
Yeah, Michigan with a nice two-out rally, but not able to string it all together. Storako right back out there in the fifth as she continues to have this game where she wants it.
Drain got a question in the chat here. Does anyone know the strategy of slap hitters against letting them swing? It seems like they encourage it more at U of M than other teams that I've seen, if you want to throw your input in there. Definitely prevents the strikeouts more so.
Yeah. I mean, if you have speed, you want to put it in play. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Because as we've seen in this game and in other games this weekend, is that Michigan's gotten a handful of infield singles.
You get that running start, put it in play, and then get down the line fast. Again, we are not experts by any means, so feel free to chat it up in the YouTube live chat. And keep the questions coming. We've got some time left in this one as we head to the bottom of the fifth on the radio network.
There is a ball high to begin this bottom of the fifth.
Olson, Coursey, and Spence, 2, 3, 4. Heart of the order coming up for Illinois State with a 4-run deficit. Not out of the question by any means.
1-0, great off-speed pitch there to even the count at 1-1.
Just 3 runs on 3 hits. The 2 RBI single in the first and the solo home run in the fourth. The 3 runs for Illinois State.
And then a wild pitch from the bullpen got out onto the field. Canfield had to chase after it.
That's Sarah Schaefer throwing in the bullpen down on the first base side for the Wolverines.
1-1 is high.
Count goes to 2-1. Storako trying to go the full distance here. She's at 75 pitches right now.
2-1 off speed, dives away, 3-1.
We'll see how far this staff lets her go. Obviously, Megan Beaubien yesterday with 160-plus pitch performance against Florida.
Looks like Beaubien's back up and throwing. 3-1, swinging a high fly ball into deep left center, right center field, back, track, wall, gone, a home run. Olson hits it out.
Teed her up again, and home run given up by Storako as she left that one hanging out over the plate. And now decision time for Hutch. It looks like she might be making the pull here in the circle. We'll see. She's headed over to home plate umpire Sally Keller. Again, it's rough. The 2 runs in the first inning really not by much fault of Storako. Actually, it looks like we are going to see Megan Beaubien come in here as she is back to the dugout getting her things out of her bag. She had been warming up over there with Hannah Carson, it looks like.
Well, from this weekend of watching Storako, I think we can say that the biggest key for her is getting ahead of hitters. When she is getting ahead in the count, she's been very, very good and hard to beat. But when she falls behind, she has to get herself back into the count by putting it over the plate. And that's when she is exposed to the hard hit balls. Because the previous homer was a 2-1 count, that one a 3-1 count.
So Beaubien will come in with a 3-run lead. It's 7-4 here in the bottom of the fifth. A pair of solo home runs in the bottom of the fourth and the bottom of the fifth here so far for Illinois State. None out on the inning. I was told yesterday that none out is apparently not a sentence. Drain, you said that we had that comment through Twitter during the USF game yesterday.
Yeah, that was.
I beg to differ. That's how I make sentences. That's JP English.
Beaubien getting her warm-up pitches. Sun is now fully out, shining over the diamond.
And again, we questioned whether or not we would see Megan Beaubien after all the pitches that she threw yesterday. The arm must still be feeling fine. Definitely got the ice up after the game yesterday, where they put those big mounds of ice on the throwing shoulder.
Yeah.
Pretty funny to see. Looks literally like you just picked one of those big bags of ice up out of the cooler at the gas station and then taped it onto their arm. But she looks primed and ready to go here.
So here we go, Corsi at the plate. First pitch is a strike.
Corsi had a single in her last at-bat, grounded out in her first at-bat in the first, so 1 for 2 on the day. She is 5 for 11, the hottest hitter in this Illinois State lineup through the tournament.
0-1 fouled back to the screen. Count now 0-2. Oh, 2 pitch, another foul. Oh, 2 count. Off-speed pitch way out in front, but just tapping it was Corsi.
Nubbed it right off the end of the bat.
Great change of speed for Beaubien there.
Yep. And again, as we mentioned several times this weekend, she's trying to work more of the spin, more of the off-speed into her game.
0-2, just outside. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
First strikeout of the relief appearance for Beaubien. That'll be her 19th so far on the weekend. Is that number likely to rise here as we close down this one?
There's a strike. Spence at the plate, Weeble on deck. There's a strike. Beaubien coming in and really pounding the zone. The 0-2 just outside.
Someone wants to take JP English instead of AP English drain, so at least somebody likes me.
The 1-2, oh, just outside.
Yeah, that's a good place pitch from Beaubien again. That was the real difference maker yesterday against Florida. She just couldn't get that outside edge to come home and get a call from Liz Hammerschmidt. She kept having to go inside, and the Florida hitters finally made her pay in the 7th.
2-2 popped up into the air and just out of the reach of Katie Alexander. Very, very short pop-up, maybe went 7 feet in the air, but hung up because of all the spin. And Alexander went scampering after it, just couldn't grab it, so the count stays at 2-2.
Another comment, Beaubien indeed with the headband on, the sunglasses on, the mask on.
Pitch high, 3-2.
They already had that one up on the scoreboard before it even crossed the plate, Drain.
What?
They had that third ball already up on the scoreboard. Payoff pitch coming for Beaubien.
3-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3.
Yep, took it up to the top level and got her to bite on that high cheese. A little sharp cheddar.
2 outs, and Weeble stepping in the batter's box. So Williams got a pair of strikeouts here in the 5th. First pitch high.
Still laughing at the hashtags for USF up on the scoreboard. The hashtag horns up. And hashtag fear none.
1-0 high, 2-0.
Beaubien now up to 20 Ks as she's put down the first 2 that she's seen so far with the K.
2-0 pitch, swing and a check swing, strike.
Yep, definitely went around there, tried to stop herself, but the bat was fully around the shoulder.
Two and one. Swinging a fly ball into the gap in left center. Coming on is Peters, and she makes the catch. Not terribly deep. Had to move over to her right to make the play. So Beaubien gets 1, 2, 3 outs after the home run from Olsen off of Staracco. It's now 7-4 Michigan over Illinois State.
You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network. And it will be Day back out to the circle for the Redbirds here. Still down 3 runs, trying to keep this game within reach for Melinda Fisher and Illinois State. She's done, again, quite well, has really not pitched herself into any trouble since coming in to relieve Feldy.
She did load the bases in the last inning, but
got out of it with poise. The sun's starting to show its face. It was cloudy this morning and now finally peeking through the clouds out in center field. It's supposed to be cloudy most of the day here in Tampa.
7 runs on 11 hits for Michigan. 4 runs on 4 hits for Illinois State.
The rain has, however, fully come and gone for the day, so no threat to the end of this game or any of the later games this afternoon, although this is Michigan's final game of the tournament. They'll be on their way home after this one. Got Canfield, Uden, and Overitis due up here in the top of the 6th.
Hutch still wearing the safari hat. Down.
Love the boonie hat. I have one myself.
Down at third base. Day gets ready to deliver. First pitch to Canfield, and it's taken for a strike.
Came close there, but Sally Keller says she did bring the bat around. Looking straight down, it was about a 50-50 call from here.
That one, roped by Canfield off
into the dugout.
Netting in front of the dugout.
For Illinois State.
She was out in front of it and yanked it down the line.
Couple of Illinois State players ducking their heads out of the way.
Count 0-2. That one is a strike 3 on the outside corner.
Yeah, that's a good pitch there from Day, and got Canfield there. Jammed up and looking. That on the game. Now for Day will be her 4th strikeout. She has done very well against these Wolverine bats that opened up the game real hot and have been pretty quiet since the 2nd inning.
That's a strike.
Still an 11-hit effort. It was just mostly concentrated at the start of this one.
She's really pounding the zone right now. You know for 1 in this game with 2 walks. Oh, 1 pitch. There's a strike inside. Ooh.
That's a pretty tough pitch to beat right there. This should be the 2nd full time through with the lineup seeing Day, so Again, maybe trying to time it up. They, towards the end of the Arizona game, started to tee up on McQuillan after seeing her for 7 innings. So
Uden's 0-2, swinging a high pop-up, arcing and off the roof. Big thud.
Rolling back towards the baseball field here at USF, where the Bulls baseball team is out doing some ground ball shagging. Little light practice here on Sunday morning.
Count 0-2. Pitch high. Count 1-2 on Uden. That one is low. Good attempt to frame it there from Welfa.
Yeah, that one was low and maybe a bit outside as well.
Uden's worked herself into a 2-2 count. That one hit hard down to first. Booted though, and Uden's going to get down to first. Probably in error. Very hard hit ball though.
Yeah, that one just going up into the glove and body of Spence, and then as it bounced off of her, wiggled away into foul territory over near Bonnie Thole in the first base coach's box. And plenty of time for Uden to get down and take first base. Uden did reach on an error, so that will be an error on Spence.
Here's Overitis.
Testing, we are back. Okay, so USF, their wireless internet makes you re-register every 24 hours, and we registered for yesterday's games apparently right at 11 a.m. because the internet just dipped out on us, and then we had to go in and re-register, so we are now back online. Their internet here has been rather odd.
Yeah.
With the Ethernet and the wireless, so sorry if you lost us there for just a moment. Again, the University of South Florida makes their Wi-Fi timeout, and they make you re-register every single day. And so our 24-hour timeout from yesterday apparently happened to be just a moment ago.
There's a strike to Riley Hale, 6'7", 8 for Illinois State. in the bottom of the 6th. They need to find a way to get at least 3 runs in the next 2 innings off Megan Beaubien. 0-1 is the ball.
So you didn't miss anything, luckily, right in the half innings.
There's a swing and a miss, 1-2.
Sorry for any technical difficulties there. Up and running again.
A 1-2 pitch, swing and a miss, off speed, and a goofy swing there from Hale. Alexander collects it in the dirt to throw down and complete the strikeout. 3 now for Beaubien and 4 batters.
And now 21 on the tournament and the season for Beaubien, so that's 1 for you for each day of the week, 3 weeks in a row.
Gonna have a pinch hitter. It's gonna be Kenzie Pence, freshman from Illinois. She wears the 00.
Again, the update, if you're just tuning back in, you lost us for about 30 seconds there as we had to re-update our internet registration with USF. Timed us out. Sons of guns.
There's a strike.
The headline during the break, Beaubien's still good.
0-1 is a tapper to Beaubien. Gotta hurry. Got her. Nice play.
That's great work by Megan Beaubien. She had to track that little dribbler back over towards the circle to her right, had to make the transfer over to the hand, the turn, and the throw over to first in time, just like clockwork. She is impressive. That will, I believe, bring a pinch hitter in now for Illinois State. Mac Leonard will not be the hitter for the Redbirds. Let's see if we can see who that will be coming
Spencer Strandgard.
Spencer Strandgard is 0 for 2 so far on the season with 1 strikeout for the Redbirds.
And a ball a little low. One 0 pitch. There's a strike. One pitch. And that's a ball a little high.
Not a bad pitch again there for Beaubien, and a decent attempt to frame it there by Alexander, who held it there for an extra beat. Just off.
The 2-1. Strandgard fouls it back. 2-2. And Beaubien 1 strike away from retiring the side in order and sending Michigan hitters back up to the top of the 7th. 2-2 the count. Here's the pitch. There's a grounder foul.
So it sounds like somebody's pinging with an aluminum bat right in the box. Not right in the box, but right behind us on the baseball field.
They're doing batting practice.
Turn the natural sound down for you then there, maybe just a hair.
2-2, swing and a miss in the dirt. And they appeal down. It did go. That seemed pretty clear to me. Alexander applies the tag. And that's another strikeout for Beaubien. She's got 4 and 6 batters faced.
Michigan's last chance at the plate here in the top of the 7th coming up. You're listening to Michigan softball coverage. Back and better than ever on WCBN Sports and Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
7-4. Michigan over Illinois.
Yeah, the USF baseball team right behind us here is doing their batting practice, so that would be the other aluminum bat noise that you hear. Little BP for an early Sunday morning. And Day will come in to try and close out Michigan's last opportunity. Up to bat here in this one. Wolverines trying to advance on a 3-run lead. Could welcome some more insurance, as always. Really, it feels like this game is miles different than a 7-4 game, Drain. It's been pretty much all Michigan.
Yeah, they got out to an early lead and have been pretty consistent. The other thing is that Illinois State hasn't had any rallies since the first inning.
Yeah.
Their only runs were 2 solo homers.
Hits are 11-4 in favor of Michigan. Illinois State has 3 errors to Michigan's 1. So a lot about this game will probably sound different than the final scoreline might here if it holds. Some comments that folks love the background sounds. We love them too, going back, and I like listening to the chants from the dugouts and, like you said, hearing those nice pings in the background.
Taylor Bump leads off, and she slings that one into the left field corner up against the wall. She's headed for 2, and she will have a sliding double. She would have
been comfortable standing up.
Yeah.
Makes you look a little grittier when you get some dirt in the socks there.
Bump finally shows off her power with that line drive double.
Gotta like that one. And like we said, the Wolverines will welcome some more insurance, and they've got an opportunity here with a runner on in scoring position with none out.
Up comes Haley Hoganrod.
Hoganrod has a fielder's choice, a fly out to left, and a walk here in the 1st, 3rd, and 5th.
Day checks the wristband. First pitch, Hoganrod hits it, fair ball down the left field line. Bump being waved around. Hoganrod heads into second, and she is safe with another double. Back-to-back doubles by Michigan.
And that's right where she should have had that knock down the line in her last at-bat in which she walked. And so she decides to go right back to that same spot. And this time it brings around an RBI with her as she scoots into second. Now 8-4.
And now we're going to have a pitching change. That'll be the end of Morgan Day there, fetching someone out of the pen as the door is about to open.
The Hoganrod family just 2 feet next to Drain here on my right, liking that one.
That's now 13 hits for Michigan, an 8-4 lead. Natalia Rodriguez due up, no outs in the inning. It's going to be number 31. Mac Leonard.
Yep, this will now be the 4th consecutive game in which Mac Leonard has come in to pitch in relief for Illinois State. She threw 1 1/3, gave up 5 runs in the NC State game. She came in against Florida, threw for 2 innings, gave up 3 runs in that one, and then came in against Arizona and threw 3 1/3, giving up 8 hits and 4 runs there. So she's been hit around in relief pretty hard, as Michigan will try and keep the no-out movement going here in the top of the 7th and keep that lead growing. Good comment on the slide into second base from Bump, that a real player never leaves the field with a clean uniform. I agree. I never got on base, so what I would do when I got into the batter's box was I would take a little dirt and rub it on my socks and rub it on
I thought
my
you would
pant
just
leg.
lay down in the batter's box and
make-
roll around.
Make some snow angels.
Right.
I had 1 year in like 6th grade where I think I went 5 for 5 to start the season and then never to be on base again.
Natalia Rodriguez at the plate. First pitch from Leonard shows bunt. Hoganrod thinking about going to third, but stays at second.
My very first at-bat ever in Little League, Drain, I got drilled right in the head.
Oh, wow.
And I dropped the bat, and they called it a swing. So I had to go back. That's why we broadcast.
The 1-0 on Rodriguez is high. 2-0. You were like Homer in the episode that our softball song is from.
Yep. Rodriguez did show bunt on that last one and pulled back for the ball. See if she shows it here again.
2-0, shows it, and then lays it down. That's a good one, but it drops foul.
Just a bit too much spin on that one. It dropped right in front of the batter's box and then took a little bit of backspin that carried it over the line. The Illinois State players very smart to not touch it until it got into foul territory.
Hannah Carson has moved into the on-deck circle for Natalie Peters.
So to speak to a comment that we had yesterday on Twitter that said we criticized too much and questioned how many games we've played, coached, and pitched in, the answer is none.
2-1, and chopping at it with the bunt attempt was Rodriguez. Now the count is 2-2.
Call the game like we see it as loyal fans drain. And now Hutch is going to call Nat Rod over for some advice.
Two and two count, still no outs in the inning. Down at second is Hoganrod. This is a 9-hitter in the order. Oh, look at this. Rodriguez is now switching.
Yep, she can switch. She's very capable.
Yeah, she is a switch hitter, but it's rare to see that in the middle of an at-bat. The 2-2 is high.
Maybe trying to throw Mac Leonard off a little bit here with where she wants to go with the ball, and the count's now full as she took ball 3.
3-2, the count.
Interesting to see what the wristband says here on the switch-up.
The 3-2, swing and a base hit into center field. Hoganrod being waved around. The throw is cut off. Now down to second. Save is Rodriguez taking second on the throw.
Great hustle by Hoganrod off the bat to round third and head for home. And again, I guess the switch up in the box working wonders for Natalia Rodriguez, who brings an RBI around and advances on the throw into second. It was a very close play over at second base, I will say. I thought they could have called her out there. And the appeal made over there by Vanderpool, who is talking to the first base umpire.
That's really good contact from Rodriguez. I mean, that was a hard-hit ball put into the outfield. That's now 2 runs in this inning for Michigan. They've boosted their lead back up to 9-4.
Still none out.
Carson at the plate. 14 hits now for Michigan. Carson takes a strike. I believe she's still looking for her first career hit.
She is. She is 0 for 3 so far. As we learned yesterday, by the way, I don't think I'd ever called a game where Michigan had made it a 7-run lead in the 7th. They will still play the bottom.
Yep.
If they do that.
There's a strike, 0-2.
He's curious whether or not the game stopped there, if they were allowed to play the bottom half, and they will play the bottom half no matter what.
The 0-2 to Carson, way high. Rodriguez very aggressive off of second base. Count 1-2. And that one is hit hard to second. Easy play there. Rodriguez over to third.
And she will now be a fly ball away from tagging up and heading home.
Brings up Lexi Blair, who had 3 singles in her first 3 plate appearances, and then a tough luck pop out, a diving play by the catcher, Welfa.
Looks like the NC State Wolfpack have also arrived, and they're warming up in the bullpen on Michigan's first base side. They will face Arizona in the next game.
Ball is low. I think it's Arizona in the bullpen, and NC State's wearing the black uniform.
In that bullpen, and then the first base bullpen.
Yeah. There's a strike. 1-1, 1 out in the inning. Blair trying to bring home Rodriguez and give Michigan double-digit runs for the second straight game.
We saw in the first couple games, Blair is capable of getting that ball up in the air and into the outfield. She hit a couple towards the warning track.
1-1. A little late on the swing and fights it off, 1-2.
Yeah, quite late there as she knocks it over the third base side, shy of the dugout for Illinois State.
Canfield in the on-deck circle. 1-2 down and in. Blair taking some pitches. Two-two pitch, swinging a fly ball into the gap. It's going to get down and roll all the way to the wall. Blair rounding second. Oh, she could have gone to third, I think. But
it would have been a close play, but she is in, standing up at second with her first extra base hit, an RBI double to the left center gap, and she will bring around Rodriguez to score. So now again, another runner on second and just one out. 10-4, Michigan's put up double-digit runs in back-to-back games.
Canfield at the plate, Uden on deck.
Very simple comment just came in the chat. Hits! Exclamation point. Yes, indeed. Many of them. That would be the 15th of the game.
Canfield takes a ball high.
Canfield is 2 for 4 so far in the game. She had a couple of singles in the first and second, an RBI, and then a sacrifice in the fourth, and a strikeout looking in her last at bat in the sixth.
The 1-0 swinging a blooper, gonna drop in. Blair gonna round third, and she'll stay there. A single from Canfield, runners on the corners.
Third hit of the game for Faith can hit, and that will leave another runner again on third base, just a fly ball away from tagging up and scoring. But at this rate, Michigan's not playing for the fly ball.
We're gonna have a pinch hitter for Madison Uden.
See who comes out of the dugout here.
Looks like it's going to be Carasoni, from what I can tell.
Looks correct, yeah, grabbing the helmet out of the box there.
She's got those distinctive
double braids.
Yeah.
Yep, getting her gloves on. Got the bat she wants, ready to go as she's out of the dugout. So Gianna Carasone, she is 0 for 2 so far at the plate.
Looking for her first career hit.
Got another piece of this incoming freshman class that Michigan is so high on.
Number 60 recruit from North Las Vegas.
Yeah, we've seen why for the most part here early in this tournament. We've seen a lot of bright spots.
She takes the first pitch inside. Blair at third, Canfield at first. 1-0, and Carasoni hits it looping down the line and foul.
We had a comment that says Michigan needs to do this against good pitching. And to be fair, this Illinois State pitching since Feldy was relieved has not been bad by any means.
Yeah, they've just been more consistent. I mean, and here's the truth. They beat up Eggins pretty badly, and Eggins is a good pitcher.
Eggins pitched a 2-1 game last night that they lost to NC State.
1-1 fouled back from Carasoni, and it's also worth noting that there's a difference between good pitching and Kelly Barnhill.
And, yeah, good and elite. And also Taylor McQuillan, for that matter.
Taylor McQuillan's very good, too.
Michigan barely lost to 2-1 on Friday evening.
1-2 on Carasoni. Off speed, got her. Great pitch.
Got her looking. That is Carsone's second strikeout in 3 at-bats. I believe the other one was looking as well.
Wolverines trying to bring home some runners. Wolverines 2 for 4 in the game with a pair of singles, a strikeout, and a hard ground out to first. That one gets away. Blair's taking off, going home, underhand flip. She's safe at the plate.
Scoring on the pass ball, and again, we saw Michigan last year didn't have a whole heck of a lot of speed on the base paths, and Lexi Blair is going to be one of those players that can definitely inject a little bit of juice going down the chalk, and she gets there well in time of the throw, tracking back towards home plate, and that's the 11th run of the game for Michigan.
It is the third run for Lexi Blair, having a whale of a day. Wolverines takes a strike 1-1.
Another big top of the 7th inning for Michigan. And again, as we said, back-to-back games now that they've put up double-digit runs. 10 yesterday against USF and 11 with the possibility of going higher here against the Redbirds.
1-1 for Wolverines, high and tight. 2-1.
Lexi Blair has had herself a tournament drain. That's something that we will discuss, I'm sure, on East of the Rockies later this week.
The 2-1. That's a ball. And now 3-1 on Overitis. Alexander on deck. She's got the knee pads on in case Overitis cannot get on, and then she would have to go back out and catch.
Very hitter-friendly count here for Overitis. Should probably see something decent coming down the pipe.
The 3-1 swing and a pop-up, looping and foul into the Illinois State dugout.
She did have it. She was a little late there as she got it over, fought it to the foul side on third base.
3-2 the count on Overitis. Here's the pitch. Got her, strike 3.
She thought she had the walk. She was a couple steps out and instead takes the bat back to the dugout. That's a strikeout looking. 2 strikeouts for Mac Leonard in her relief appearance. And now final call for the Redbirds here at the bottom of the 7th. Michigan leads 11-4 over Illinois State. You're listening to Michigan softball coverage on WCBN Sports and the Michigan Student Softball Radio Network.
4 runs on 5 hits for Michigan there. Now up to 11 runs on 15 hits for the day. And Megan Beaubien back out to finish this off with a 7-run lead behind her.
She's going to go 9-1-2, Vanderpool, Feldy, and Olsen, barring any pinch hitting situations here. Looks like Vanderpool will be the first one at the very least, and it looks like Feldy will be in the on-deck circle. A quick plug for our podcast as well. We've mentioned it a couple of times. Feel free to tune in to East of the Rockies, our Michigan Student Softball podcast that we record every week. We drop them roughly around Tuesday or Wednesday every week. We always have recorded player interviews. We do breakdowns of the previous weekend, previews of the upcoming, and we talk anything related to Michigan softball. You're always welcome to send us in questions you'd like to hear. That's always available on SoundCloud, and then we are working on our new iTunes feed. We had to switch iTunes channels, and so we're waiting for confirmation that we are officially Apple sanctioned so that you can get that on your phone through the Apple Podcast app.
Well, also the good news, the reason that we've had the rather cluttered situation with our podcast accounts is that we purchased a premium SoundCloud account.
So we now have unlimited storage.
Yeah, in the past we had to just do basically 3 episodes at a time and then delete the old one to upload a new one.
Yeah, because our episodes do range anywhere from about an hour to an hour and a half. We had a massive hour and 45-minute season preview episode that you can go back and listen to how bad our takes were now.
There's a strike. Beaubien facing Vanderpool.
Actually, now that I think of it, our takes weren't all that terrible from that pod that I can remember.
No, I think this has been about the weekend I expected in some ways. The 0-1, swing and a bouncer to second. Easy play for Canfield in the sidearm flip.
Puts down Vanderpool, who had the home run in the 4th inning. So one of those dangerous bats that had gotten off of Storako is down and back to the dugout.
Shannon Feldy, the starting pitcher in the game, now in left field. She's at the plate. She's ready for the first pitch. That's a strike. Beaubien very sharp in this game.
Also, the podcast, just to note, is not just Drain and myself. So you don't have to listen to just our voices. We've got Morris Fabry and Kevin Klein, who joined us via video call, and Lucas Vargas in the studio in Ann Arbor.
There's a ball high. We might have other characters on the podcast later in the year. We're going to be talking to prospective candidates to add to the staff.
Drain is very adamant that he's phasing me out finally after I'll have my master's degree in May.
The 1-1, there's a fly ball into center field. Backing up and making the play is Peters. 2 outs in the inning. And Olsen.
That was a change in center. That's actually Haley Hogenrod
That's
out
what I
in center
thought.
now, and then Gonzalez has shifted into right. So Hogenrod in center, Blair in left, Gonzalez in right, as Peters comes in and will sit on the dugout defensively here.
There's a strike.
Olsen, the other one with a solo home run. She had hers in the 5th. Otherwise, she had a hit by pitch in the 1st and a fly out to left field in the 2nd.
The 0-1 down in the dirt, 1-1.
Michigan 1 out away from going home with a 3-2 record out of this tournament. Not too bad considering the competition. A 1-run loss to Arizona, ranked number 7, and a 6-0 defeat to number 4 Florida.
The 1-1 swing and a miss. And now Michigan 1 strike away.
We've got a comment saying that I don't have to leave, Drain, so the fans want me to stick around. I might just go for the PhD route then.
The 1-2 high, 2-2.
If you know anybody hiring in the field of education, let me know.
The 2-2 swinging a foul back.
I could just become a faculty advisor for WCBN and then take all the trips anyways, but to be fair, this is my 3rd straight year coming down to Tampa for this tournament, and I'm happy to hand off the reins to you, Drain.
The 2-2 swing and a miss. Strike 3. Megan Beaubien picks up her 5th strikeout of this appearance and goes 9 up, 9 down in a very, very sharp relief appearance. Spelling Storako, and now we get the handshake lines between the two squads as Michigan will finish the weekend at 3-2 after an 11-4 win over Illinois State. Final line, Michigan 11 runs on 15 hits and 1 error committed. Illinois State 4 runs on 4 hits and 3 errors committed. Michigan closes out the weekend, 4-3 win over NC State, 10-1 win over USF, an 11-4 win over Illinois State, a 2-1 loss to Arizona, and a 6-0 loss to Florida.
A real big hug there and some very nice words between Carol Hutchins and Melinda Fisher, 2 giants in their respective programs. 30-plus years of coaching for both of them.
Now both teams headed into their dugouts, and NC State and Arizona finally getting to come out onto the field. This game ran a bit long, about 2 hours and 15 minutes, so their game will be pushed back till noon about.
Yep, and that will do it for our coverage from Tampa. Drain, you got any final thoughts here?
I think it was overall a pretty solid weekend for Michigan. They showed that they could compete with a team like Arizona. They were competitive with Florida until the wheels came off in the 7th of that game, and then they took care of the teams they were supposed to beat. They got some pretty solid performances from freshmen. Long way to go, but overall about what I was expecting.
Yep, we've got women's basketball coming up later today, and again on the softball front, we will be back on Friday this coming week from Chapel Hill with 2 against North Carolina and 2 against Louisville Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Again, thank you to all of you who elected to tune in with us for coverage of the tournament down here in Tampa. It was our pleasure and our great joy to bring you the games. And we had a couple of comments right at the end, a lot of thank yous. We appreciate all of you tuning in. And in response to us saying we called the game with too much criticism, I said we call it as we see it. Someone said you do, but see it with maize and blue eyes. And I don't think there's any other way that I'd like to see these games than with maize and blue eyes, Drain.
Yep.
Little Max Scherzer, 2 different colored eyeballs. So that'll do it for us from Tampa. Your final score again, Michigan 11, Illinois State 4. Drain, would you like to give the sign off?
Yep, from Tampa, Jeremy Parks, Alex Drain. One final time. Good afternoon, and go blue.